Hello? Okay, awesome. Well, thank you all for joining. So first, I'll give an overview of Build, the program, and then ask some questions here to our amazing panelists. So Build is a new Economics 2.0 program that is accelerating the growth and adoption of Web3 projects in various domains, including, but not limited to, gaming, DeFi, infrastructure, private computing, entertainment, and much more. In Build, projects commit network fees and other incentives to Chainlink service providers, which include stakers and node operators, in exchange for enhanced custom support. Today, we're joined by four incredible founders that are each leading something special and very interesting in their own domains. So we'll learn a little bit more about their backgrounds, what they're building, and how all of this fits into the bigger Chainlink picture. Oh, thank you. The first question, if you can please introduce yourselves and share a brief overview of what you're building. Vijay, if you want to go first.
So hey guys, Vijay here from Munich, straight away coming from Oktoberfest. So I was just there in weekend, and yeah, myself, founder and CEO of bitsCrunch. So we are a data, NFT, analytics plus forensics entity who focuses on some of the key aspects like which presses the NFT space a little down. So we look into wash trading, where people flip NFTs for fun, just try to make more money out of it. And then we also look into fair price estimation of NFTs, which also helps traders and communities to look into NFTs from a different angle. So glad to be part of this Build program. We are already backed by some of the amazing leaders in the industry like Coinbase, Polygon, and also including Chainlink now. Looking for amazing learning, looking to learn a lot of things through other founders like Nate, Stefan, and guys here. Happy to be here. Looking forward to this amazing session. Thanks.
Vijay, Michael.
Thank you. So I'm Michael Nowotny, co-founder and CEO of Krypton. Krypton is a next-generation decentralized exchange that aims to solve the massive trade inefficiencies that have been holding DeFi trading back. So in DeFi, it is very easy to spend hundreds of basis points on bad execution, which is an order of magnitude more expensive than trading in CeFi and TradFi. We believe this is one of the major growth inhibitors to the adoption of decentralized finance. What we're doing is we have a novel trading mechanism that eliminates these costs, aiming for best execution in DeFi, making DeFi even less costly than trading in TradFi. The goal is to make DeFi the global standard in trading. That's what we're doing. And this is uniquely enabled by Chainlink's Oracle technology.
Yeah, hi, I'm Stefan Roost. I'm the founder of Truflation.com. We basically take a novel approach to calculating real-world changes in cost of living. Basically that's what we do. We aggregate across 50 different sources. We track more than 18 million items on a daily basis in terms of their price changes. And we work with Chainlink and the network of providers to really help scale that and provide that to smart contract developers. We have over 40 different projects building products off the back of the Truflation data that we have. And we track inflation in two specific markets, the US and the UK. Anybody from the UK here? There you go. So the UK has about, according to our calculations, some 16% inflation. And yesterday, the Bank of England just announced quantitative easing. So we'll see structural inflation be embedded in every single economy going forward. And that's why we believe we have to take a modern approach to calculating what real price changes are, because that impacts our purchasing power. So how do we protect the people's purchasing power? And that's what we're trying to do at Truflation.com.
Hey everyone, Nate Holiday, co-founder and CEO of Space and Time, a decentralized data warehouse. We're really focused on bringing on and off-chain data into enterprise scale SLAs to make sure that we can power smart contracts. So you think about the limited use cases of smart contracts today, limited in storage, limited in complexity. How do we expand the use cases to a data warehouse? And then because we have community operated nodes, right? We want to make sure that we can have trusted analytics that deliver it directly back to smart contracts. Obviously, using Chainlink, really excited about the partnership with them. And really think about how we make, of course, smart contracts smarter, but how do we take the business process and the logic that sits in data warehouses today, and how do we start to ensure that those can all be available and automated and processed through smart contracts, obviously using SQL with a novel cryptography for us, proof of SQL.
Thanks for that, Nate. So on to the next question, starting with you again, Vijay. Can you expand a little on how you're using Chainlink technology to enable your technology offering or stacks?
Yeah. So like I said, what we provide is the price estimation of NFTs, for instance. And we look at NFTs from a 360-degree perspective. So what we are known to NFT frauds so far is the rug pulls and the projects running away and trying to make money. But there are other different ways that people are getting scammed. So since we are a data-savvy team, so myself, I'm one of the data scientists back then with Siemens and Volkswagen, two of the German OGs. And to do the price feed, we use Chainlink oracles. So Chainlink oracles is also to deliver the NFT price feeds, which is not depending entirely on the floor price. Because in my opinion, floor price is one of the dumbest ever metric. I would call that way, because if we have millions of dollars in the bank account, we could inflate the price of any collection. We could pump the floor price from few Ethereums or any other currencies to several much more Ethereums by floor price. So since we look into wash trading, where people flip NFTs, people try to just either they create multiple MetaMask wallets and do flipping around, where if they pump the price of an NFT from few $100 to $1,000, somebody who is looking at an outsider perspective thinks that I might be a great artist, and then they put all the money in, and then I just say, thanks bro, that's not an NFT, that's just a joke. So that's how some of the people are getting scammed in this space, unfortunately. And we are trying to unearth or unleash that stuff. We also launched unleashnfts.com, which is our B2C platform right here at the Chainlink event, SmartCon event, which will, this is currently a beta version which we launched, but in the near future, you can expect a whole bunch of factors and key performance indicators where a user, a trader, or a collector can pick and choose his NFT investment. So it'll be a gateway for a better NFT investment for a trader, even for marketplaces. They can be transparent. So that's where Chainlink Oracle could help us navigate to so many different customers in this NFT space, like NFT lending protocols, some of the lending protocols like Find Labs. There are so many different NFT protocols who are already using our price oracles. And it's good to have Chainlink, which is again selling our APIs through Chainlink oracles. So yeah, that is one way, but there are several different ways which we leverage with Chainlink. For instance, the community, it has one of the biggest dev communities, and since we are a dev-focused entity, we obviously need a lot of guys who work or who understands AI and ML, because that is where the wash trading patterns lie underneath. So yeah.
Thanks, Vijay. Yeah, so starting off as a data provider offering NFT pricing and then moving on to other types of NFT data and analytics. That's really cool. Michael, if you can expand a little bit on how Chainlink technology is enabling your technology.
So what we're building is not an automated market maker. It's not any type of peer-to-peer protocol. It's fully peer-to-peer. We believe that peer-to-peer DEX trading is the future. That's what's going to reduce and eliminate all those inefficiencies. But that doesn't come for free. So while we are much more economically efficient, much more cost-effective, even more so than anything that exists in centralized finance today, it comes at a massive computational cost. The computational cost is so high, in fact, that no other decentralized ecosystem, no blockchain, nothing else in existence today could make Krypton possible. And we tried it. we found that if we have an order book with about 200 orders on each side, running the matching engine once would consume 8 million gas. That's, of course, not possible. That's what used to be the block gas limit in Ethereum, and you cannot consume the entire block just for a single run of the matching engine. So what we realized is that Chainlink's decentralized Oracle technology doesn't only work for bringing off-chain data onto the blockchain, it also works for decentralizing computation. There is this wonderful technology, this wonderful kind of plug-in feature, which is called an external adapter, and you can run fully Turing-complete programs, and it's all secured by Chainlink's Oracle network. So that's what we're doing. That's what uniquely enables Krypton. But the benefits don't stop there. If you're already paying the cost to go outside the blockchain, to go to an Oracle network, you can use it for all kinds of other things. If you're outside the blockchain, you can reach into all kinds of other decentralized ecosystems. So that means you can mix and match existing blockchain technology and existing Web3 technology to the best of their advantage. That massively expands the design space, and we're doing just that. We're using Arweave, we're using IPFS, we're using all kinds of other things. One specific benefit is that if you can communicate among blockchains, then you can relay messages from one blockchain to another. In particular, a smart contract on one blockchain can call functions of a smart contract on another blockchain. That's all relayed by the Oracle network. That's what Chainlink's upcoming cross-chain interoperability protocol is about. And we're using that to eliminate liquidity fragmentation in DeFi trading. One of the big problems is that with AMMs at the moment, there are liquidity pools on all kinds of blockchains, and that means market makers have to spread themselves thin, and DeFi traders have to wonder, where do I get best execution? In Krypton, no matter what blockchain you enter from, you will always trade in a unified order book and aiming for best execution. We believe that realizing that Chainlink's Oracle technology enables the future of the Web3 space.
Michael, we look forward to this game-changing DEX and then going multi-chain with CCIP as well.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have said it better. I mean, it's like, yeah, I think we're all working on similar types of activities, but at Truflation, what are we interested in, or what are our users looking for the data that we're aggregating? They're looking for verifiability, and they're looking for immutability associated with the data that we track. So we work with Chainlink to make sure that that data is across, and we work with the community across all the partners to help make that available to all the different node operators, so that it's not just hosted on one node, but across multiple nodes, and that anybody at any point in time can verify that data. And that's, to us, or our users, that's what they care about at the moment. Where that will go in the future, we don't know. Ultimately, we'd love to be able to be processing much more data on-chain, and we're working together with the community as well as with Chainlink to figure out how we can do that at much larger scale, cross-chain. But to launch Truflation on multiple blockchains was within a day, or maybe a bit more than a day, but within really fast timelines, we were launched on 5 different blockchains right from the get-go before a hackathon, and people were building across all those blockchains on the Chainlink nodes to make that happen, and building products on that. So exciting.
And for us, if you think about it, when we combine on and off-chain data, and we're, in a sense, rewriting the business logic or business automation for applications so they can go power and deliver data back to smart contracts, you need a decentralized Oracle network. And you better have a scalable one, you better have one that you can trust, and you better have the standard for the industry. In our opinion, we think that that Chainlink is, creating the standard for the industry, that they're going out and making sure that if you want to connect data to smart contracts, which we absolutely want to do, and if your vision is that smart contracts is going to run the business process of the future, which we're trying to power, then obviously, Chainlink is a perfect partner for us. And we're really excited to be building, with Chainlink. You think about an open data ecosystem and open data standards. We have no interest to go building a siloed data, processor, a siloed data, business outside of kind of the open data standards. So for us, it's a critical part of what we're doing, and we're grateful for the partnership.
How many are developers in here? Yeah, so a lot of you are developers, and one thing you know is it's really hard to get support and when you've got a problem. You want somebody to be able to chat to really quickly, and I think the ecosystem and the collective set of partners, sorry, I'm stealing the mic, I mean, Chainlink has been phenomenal. I mean, if you want support, you want, connecting with the right kind of people, there are great people at the table. The community is amazing. And so working with this build program and connecting us all together has allowed us to immediately move forward at a pace together and move the whole engine and the machine forward, which has been great community. And that really helps, particularly if you're building and you have a problem, you don't know the quite answer right there and then. Everybody chimes in, so that's just sort of something to add.
No, that's true, Stefan, and I mean, a lot of you are already working together
Yeah.
at this moment, even before like this panel, so I think that's amazing to see. And we're going to continue seeing that as well, of course, going forward. And I think then, bringing on to the next question, starting with Nate, what are some, so how will your project elevate Web3 to the next level? Like, what are the technical innovations that you're introducing? Maybe talk a little bit about the decentralized warehouses, proof of SQL, and what you're looking to do there.
Yeah, no, so we think about that. I've talked about the decentralized data warehouse and why it matters. Obviously, anyone can participate in a community node operations. We want people to be able to have rewards and incentives for that. We want to ensure that nobody can own necessarily the operations of an application. So as you build within a decentralized network, no matter who you are, no matter where you are in the world, you can be assured that there's no central organization that can control that and can determine the outcome or how you participate in the world in general. But then you think about proof of SQL, for example. If you're running a DeFi protocol and you need to make sure that the algorithms and the mathematics that you're building within your DeFi application connects to a smart contract and that nobody can tamper with that data, it becomes really, really important, right? If you think about different types of volatility calculations or option price history. All of this stuff today sits in centralized databases for the most part. And there's a lot of different people that can get to that data within your organization, within the providers that are providing you that structure. And so we want to make sure that it's a decentralized network in general. When you think about proof of SQL, now you have query results that are being delivered to smart contracts, right? So you have these query results that are being delivered, but the question is have they been tampered with, right? Not just proof of storage, but proof of SQL. So the novel cryptography allows a proof to be returned as well as the query to ensure it hasn't been tampered with. But in a sense, though, you can't go run a large-scale SQL query across, terabytes of data and 10 tables 30 times, right? You can only run that maybe one time, and you better run it really fast. And so what proof of SQL gives us the opportunity to do is you run the query one time, and you have proof of SQL that can verify and validate the query results where you don't have to run it, for example, 30 times and then draw consensus, for example, on a large-scale SQL result. I can't imagine going to a CTO and saying, come work with us. By the way, that 2-hour job that you run overnight to close your books on every day, you got to run that 30 times, right? So it's really novel cryptography, and we're really excited about it.
And that's where the proof is returned as a snark. It gets a proof SQL, right? And Stefan, how many indices have you ever introduced, and what are you planning on releasing next?
So we've launched, just today, I think we announced 42 new indexes that we've brought onto Truflation. So you have now commodities, precious metals, sentiment data that we're actually putting on chain. We think, yesterday, I think in Sergey's slide, he talked about $60 trillion worth of derivatives. How do they get on chain? Where do you get the reliable source of verifiable truth for the price of those derivatives? Where do they come from? Largely, a lot of that derivatives trading is commodities. And so we think that by providing this data on chain, that we're going to see a growth in sort of futures pricing and perpetuals associated with a lot of commodities. And that's going to be really exciting. And we want to be the supplier of truth and information associated with this new economic model. The last century was really defined by innovation that happened at the end of the century before that, and early in the 1920s, a lot of innovation took place. And we're in now a new century, 2020, and I think right here, we're now at a cusp of developing really new tools that are going to be relevant for the rest of this century. We're at the cusp of really building and automating great services that everybody can participate in that will create a whole new wave of infrastructure, services with an amazing user experience. We have to bring that to life and do that now so that we can create these new $60 trillion industries that everybody can participate in. Absolutely.
And Michael, with the game-changing DEX engine, there's no MEV, there's no front-running, adverse selection. What would you say are some of the most important Chainlink features here that enables your DEX engine to avoid these things?
Oh yeah, let me explain. So if you think about finance, if you think about trading, there are fundamentally two types of inefficiencies. The one is what in the blockchain space we know as these reordering attacks. It's because miners and validators are the final arbiters of transaction sequencing in a block, and that basically has allowed people to jump the line, to jump in, and take advantage of trades that other people have put on before that have been publicly observable in the memory pool and essentially attain negative latency. They can kind of rewrite history, so to speak, after it happened, after it has been finalized. In TradFi, by comparison, people are also vying for low latency. So if you read, Flash Boys or watched the movie, I think the Hummingbird Project, then they show that sophisticated fast traders are willing to pay billions of dollars to build optic fiber cables through mountains. They're building series of microwave towers. They're willing to pay for co-location just for the ability to be faster. The second inefficiency I'm going to talk about is adverse selection. That's an economic term. I'm going to explain that in a minute. And that is what is giving rise to impermanent loss on AMMs. And so what fundamentally happens in a traditional order book, and actually in all existing trading mechanisms, including AMMs, including central limit order books, is that whenever an aggressive order hits a resting order in an order book, then according to some time and price priority rule that defines the matching engine, a finite quantity of tokens, a finite quantity of shares or stocks, essentially a finite dollar value, is exchanged in an infinitesimally small amount of time, right? That makes for an infinite trading speed. So if you look at the history of trading speeds in existing trading systems, including AMMs, then typically it's zero. Nothing is transferred. Whenever some trade can be executed, whenever your transaction index arrives on the blockchain where your trade is in, or whenever an aggressive order hits a resting order in a central limit order book, being a DeFi, being a CeFi, being a TradFi, some finite quantity of value is transferred in infinitesimally small amount of time. So trading speed basically jumps up from 0 to infinity in these concentrated bursts. That's the feature that makes the order in which trades are implemented crucial. So if you're able to just be a little bit sooner than everyone else, then you get to take advantage of the entire opportunity. That's why people are vying for low latency, and that's what makes it valuable to purchase block space on blockchains via flashbots. And so what we do with Krypton is we say, all right, if that's the central reason for all the trading inefficiencies, then let's just not do that. So instead what we're doing is we're transferring value as continuous flows over time at finite trading speeds, and these trading speeds are determined by a market mechanism, by an order book, by a novel type of order book. In traditional order books, market makers always have to worry that if someone takes their bid or someone takes their ask, they're doing this because they have better information than the market maker. They know something that the market maker doesn't and will only become aware of maybe a few seconds later. So they're doing something that's good for them and that's bad for the market maker. That's why it's called adverse selection. The market maker, understanding that that's where the cost comes from, will have to set a bid-ask spread to protect themselves and to recover these expected losses from all the regular traders, the 99%, people like you and me, during regular times when no large chunk of information that's relevant for prices comes out in a short amount of time. Now, with Krypton, because they're transferring value over time in continuous flows, market makers will receive a publicly digestible signal that people need to trade fast if they have short-term information to monetize, and they're willing to pay, to have a price impact, to pay a much higher price if they're buying and a much lower price when they're selling. This signal is digestible and interpretable by market makers immediately, before the damage gets done. On existing infinite speed exchanges like AMMs and like central limit order books, yes, the information comes out, there is a price jump. People observe a lot of quantity has been transferred, but then it's too late. The market maker already has been adversely selected. So what happens on Krypton is market makers can comfortably set much lower bid-ask spreads that reduces the trading cost for the 99%, for mutual funds, for pension funds, for university endowments, for retail traders, for family offices. And that is where the next generation of trading will come from. It will enable use cases that have not been seen before. Financial markets are a mechanism for risk sharing, but risk sharing has been limited by high implementation costs, both in TradFi, but even more so in DeFi. By eliminating these costs, we will enable things that have not been seen before. And we're going to do this in Web3, and we're going to do this using Chainlink.
Fascinating. Thank you, Michael. And Vijay, you mentioned starting with NFT pricing, forensic tools, and other types of analytics. What else is on your product roadmap for the next 6 to 12 months?
Yeah. To wind the clock back, it all started with the famous $69 million sale that happened like roughly 18 to 20 months ago, where Beeple sold his famous art. Back then it was called a JPEG, but then a lot of people were not looking into who was the buyer, so it was Meta Cohen. I mean, a lot of you might know him. But then when I dig deeper into who is the Meta Cohen, he comes from Chennai, where I come from. And back in Chennai, people used to think twice to buy idlis or dosas for 100 rupees. And that guy has got an NFT for $69 million. So that's when I wanted to get into this space seriously, and that's the origin of bitsCrunch. So we wanted to crunch each and every bits of data. So that's why we picked NFTs as a peculiar niche area to start with, and then to expand to the other horizon, to DeFi, to CeFi. But the focus is on NFTs right now, and the price estimation tool, or be it watch trading detection. And then we are also looking into IP infringement. So let's say if brands like Adidas, Nike, Reebok, they are launching their own NFTs, and there are guys who are trying to fake NFTs, right? So they try to use Nike's logo and just pretend to be Nike's NFTs. So we have an AI ML model that also runs through the NFTs. So we index every NFTs that are on Ethereum, Polygon, and AVAX right now. And then we are planning to expand to other chains like Solana, Binance, and many more. So we want to look into NFTs from all the 360-degree perspective, where in the near future, we would like to be, let's say, the tick mark of NFTs. So much like Twitter's verified tick mark. And that's where you could relate us to chain analysis plus dunes or Nansens in this space. Because when we wanted to get into this space, we realized that there are so many good players already existing who are building analytics, like Nansen is $750 to $1 billion valuation already, and then Dune is already a unicorn. So we wanted to add a cherry on top of that, and that's where we wanted to focus on forensics, the forensic side of things. And since this space is maturing, people will realize the importance of what we are building. And right now, most of the people, they buy NFTs for very few reasons. One is they probably love the community, and then obviously FOMOing in, fear of missing out. And we wanted to change the complex of this game, where we want NFTs to stay here. I mean, if you ask me, I have a great conviction towards NFTs. It is here to stay, right? With the amount of traction, with the amount of community, and people say that NFTs, is it dead? I read articles about NFTs being dead, but I doubt so, because you are comparing the volume of, let's say, OpenSea, which is fine, but at the same time, you should have to look at other NFT marketplaces which are evolving. Let's say Magic Eden came out of nowhere and it became a unicorn. and then Uniswap got an NFT marketplace, and then eBay has launched one, Shopify is into NFTs, and a lot of brands are getting into NFTs. So like I said, we are going to be integrating all these NFTs into our platform, where we want to be the watchdog of NFTs, where we want to look at NFTs from perspectives which people won't really look into, right? I mean, if you ask anybody into this crowd, I'm sure that more than half of the people sitting here probably not look into the data patterns of how things are done. For instance, we have identified 11 plus patterns of wash trading. It could be between 1 and 1. That could be multiple MetaMask wallets that is, let's say, created by a person, or it could be a cyclic pattern where an NFT is transferred to me, Stefan, Nate, and so on, and then gets back to you. And then somebody looking at it from an outsider perspective thinks that you're a great artist because your NFTs jump from $100 to $1,000. So we want this space to mature, and by the time it matures, we are going to help sustain, NFTs to sustain. If NFTs are here to stay, then the world is going to owe a lot to bitsCrunch.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you, Vijay. And Nate, going back to you. So community obviously is critical to Web3. What strategies have you implemented to build your tech stack through and alongside your community?
As we think about the community that we're building, and I've already talked to, for example, open data standards, right? And we heard earlier yesterday, we heard Sergey talk about, right, how there's trust in brands that's moving to a trust-minimized ecosystem. What that means to me is that we're moving to a more consumer-oriented and consumer-friendly opportunity for developers, for applications to be created, to participate in the greater ecosystem with open data standards that are going to take advantage of your data, that are going to hold your businesses, within a single, provider, within a cloud infrastructure, for example, and dictate the rules of how you engage with consumers. And I think as we've all talked today, like this is a really good example of like how we can go better and further together than if we're trying to do this alone. Like, we're able to leverage the resources of Chainlink and what they're building, right? And we don't have to go rebuild everything that's being provided. And we can think about what's best for the developers, what's best for the consumers, and make sure that everything we're building kind of coexists in a way that drives these open data standards and drives the kind of the consumer operations that's best for them. So I think, Stefan mentioned it earlier in the panel as well. Like we can go further together, and that's our intention, right?
Yeah, and on that note, we're working together, right? We're trying to work together to bring more decentralization to all of this data that we're actually aggregating. But we're really working on three things going forward. We want to work more with developers, get feedback, how can we optimize the product better? So we work with Chainlink, sponsor the hackathons, and really get developers engaged and tell us what we need to do better and how we can improve that. Number two is we're launching a product today as well on the site. You can find it. It's a marketplace to simplify the discovery and the utility of oracles and indexes that are available. How can I mix and match different indexes? How can I create a custom index, get an API key, or get a smart contract script that I can use, plug and play, pay for it, connecting a wallet to that. So automatically, the discovery and the utility of that index becomes simpler, quicker, and deployable much faster within less time. So providing better tooling. And then the last thing is, inflation, in fact, impacts us all differently. And so we're launching in about a month's time. We'll have a personal inflation calculator. So you can actually calculate your own inflation, how it impacts you. You can import a spreadsheet. You can connect it to your Expensify account as a business. You can connect it to your MasterCard, credit card, or Visa card, or American Express card. We haven't talked to any of them yet, but we'll come to that. But you'll be able to then ultimately integrate that data that they already aggregate and compile break it down into different expense categories, import that, and then basically know your own personal inflation. Developers, what products do I need to hedge myself and protect my purchasing power off the back of that? And that's where the ecosystem comes into play. That's where product development comes into play. And that's where there's no better creative minds than developers that can actually build those products and make sure that they're protected accordingly from an MEV standpoint, that they get traded, executed accordingly, et cetera. So yeah, we look forward to continuing down this path and growing the community as such together.
Michael.
So just like in TradFi, institutions are dominating the trading space. We believe that if and when Web3 succeeds, institutions are going to be driving most of the trading volume. However, for ordinary users like us, we will have a different trading experience that's very close to what we know and love from existing DEXs like AMMs. One thing I did is I brought on one of my former economics professors from UCLA. His name is Pierre-Olivier Weil. He and one of his PhD students have been analyzing our trading mechanism and have been developing a market-making algorithm. This market-making algorithm will run on Chainlink's decentralized Oracle networks and will manage positions for people who will send in our tokens just like they do on an AMM. So if you want the same user experience you have, you can get it, and you will be protected by Krypton. For institutions, we are going to have an order book-like user interface with good defaults on the novel things that people are not yet familiar with. We're going to launch a public testnet in a few months and a trading competition, and you can try it out. Please do give us feedback. If you do give us feedback, you will become one of the first members of our community. Our plan is to call the community the Knights of Krypton, and we're going to release more information about that in the coming months. Thank you.
Michael. And to finish up, Vijay.
Yeah, so I mean, we started from being in a community. So when I was with Siemens, we used to take part in a lot of hackathons. So we emerged out of one of the famous hackathons out there in this space, ETH Global. And then that's where we were recognized as one of the most innovative projects back in 2020, I believe. And building community is like, it's like a part and parcel of every crypto project. And that's where we strongly believe we could leverage a lot from Chainlink's community, like I said before. And for instance, we are also, we partnered with MasterCard, for instance. So we are glad and humbled to be working closely with names like MasterCard here. So what we are going to do is we provide that security layer for MasterCard for users who are going to purchase NFTs using MasterCard payment gateway. I mean, MasterCard is already going with full acceleration when it comes to NFT or adopting their payment gateways to NFT marketplaces. They have already signed up with 7 or 8 NFT marketplaces like Mintable and others. And soon you will be able to purchase NFTs using MasterCard payment gateway. And that's where bitsCrunch is going to provide that security layer where we check for authenticity. We check if an NFT is wash traded. We check if an NFT is overpriced or underpriced. So we sort of do a credit score for NFTs where we check if an NFT is freshly minted, if an NFT is there for a long time, and we check for the number of holders and the time that each holds that NFT. And on the other hand, we do a credit score on the traders/collectors. We check if Vijay is using NFTs, using a fresh wallet to buy an NFT, that probably gonna hit on his score. And so that's why we want community to jump in here. So we want, in the near future, we want the community to also come and validate what's happening. So for NFTs that are selling over, let's say, $100,000, we want the community to validate if it is wash traded. And that's why we need some data savvy developers as well who could also understand patterns, data patterns. With Chainlink, things are going to get a lot easier for us. And I'm really looking forward to the next set of months and years to come.
Great. Thank you, Vijay. And I think this concludes the session. So thank you, Vijay, Michael, Stefan, Nate. I think it's incredible. Incredible to have you all here in New York from wherever you live, talking about the technologies, how you're working together, how all of this fits within the bigger Chainlink picture, and we look forward to more. So thank you again.
Thanks.
Thank you.